Good evening and warm welcome to each one of you to the live webinar. Today on World Population Day, Mahatma Education Society's Pillai College of Education and Research, Chembur, in collaboration with the Department of Lifelong Learning and Extension, University of Mumbai, organize and present this webinar, Take a Stand, Raise Awareness. July 11th is observed as World Population Day. The day was established in 1989 by the Governing Council of the United Nations Development Programme to focus on the urgency and importance of the population issues. The World Population Day is observed and started as a campaign at a global level to raise awareness about the population issues, reproductive health, and gender equality as essential for achieving sustainable developmental goals. In today's live show, we have Dr. Dilip Patil, Honorable Director, Department of Lifelong Learning and Extension, University of Mumbai. We have Advocate Ms. Nisha George, Fiscal Officer, Joint Warfare Center, Norway. Dr. Vivek Chinjolkar, Associate Professor, Department of Psychiatry, Kalwa Hospital, Thane. And we have Dr. Rennie Francis, Principal, Pillai College of Education and Research, Chembur. Welcome you all to this live webinar, Take a Stand, Raise Awareness. Let us begin today's program with our university song. I request everyone to raise for the prayer song.
मन्दिरं शारदाया मुम्बापुरी विश्वविद्यालयम् इदं सुन्दरं मन्दिरं शारदाया मुम्बापुरी विश्वविद्यालयम् कलाशास्त्रवाणिज्यशाखाभिरूढा अमूढा विमुक्ता विहङ्गा वयम् शृण्वन्तु सर्वे दृढं निश्चयम् शृण्वन्तु सर्वे दृढं निश्चयम् इदं सुन्दरं मन्दिरं शारदाया मुम्बापुरी विश्वविद्यालयम् सत्यं वदामो धर्मं चरामो नयामो नृणां दुःखभारं लयम् सत्यं वदामो धर्मं चरामो नयामो नृणां दुःखभारं लयम् स्वकार्ये रतानां सदा जागृतानां भवेत्किं भविष्येति तस्मात् भयम् शृण्वन्तु सर्वे दृढं निश्चयम् शृण्वन्तु सर्वे दृढं निश्चयम् इदं सुन्दरं मन्दिरं शारदाया मुम्बापुरी विश्वविद्यालयम् युवा स्यात् बलिष्ठो युवा स्यात् गरिष्ठो युवा ध्येयनिष्ठो विभूयाद्वयम् युवा स्यात् बलिष्ठो युवा स्यात् गरिष्ठो युवा ध्येयनिष्ठो विभूयाद्वयम् यदि स्यात् युवा राष्ट्रकर्तव्यनिष्ठा समानेकतत्त्वं विलोकत्रयम् शृण्वन्तु सर्वे दृढं निश्चयम् शृण्वन्तु सर्वे दृढं निश्चयम् इदं
Thank you, everyone. Now, may I request Dr. Rennie Francis, Principal, Mahatma Education Society's Pillai College of Education and Research, to welcome all the guests and introduce the theme for this webinar.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mary. Uh, Good evening and a warm welcome to all. Today, our webinar on Take a Stand, Raise Awareness is a collaborative effort with Department of Lifelong Learning and Extension, University of Mumbai, and MES's Pillai College of Education and Research, Chembur. We thank Dr. Dilip Patil for his support in this initiative. World Population Day today has multiple challenges such as health, economic, social, and all these challenges are far across and far wide with this current situation of COVID-19 pandemic. The United Nations body has said human rights cannot be quarantined. The theme for World Population Day 2020 focuses on raising awareness about safeguarding sexual and reproductive health needs and vulnerabilities of women and girls during COVID-19 pandemic. Keeping in mind this theme and addressing the challenge that we have today with a social perspective and highlighting that human rights is something that we need to address with respect to the psychological impact that we could also face due to overpopulation and population crisis. With this thought in mind, we thought that we will be coming up with this webinar on taking a stand and raising awareness. Today is the day when we as individuals have to understand and create an awareness of what are the challenges that we will be facing in our life tomorrow and what are the solutions that we need to bring to our forefront to bring this day to bring a better future as we focus on the SDG level of sustainable cities and communities. This step today of our webinar takes an initiative, a leap towards this cause. As I close, I would like to say quote William James, where he says that act as if it will make a difference, and it does. So here, let us all join together and be the change agent so that we can bring in a better society, a sustainable society for our future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Rennie. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. Today we have such a wonderful leader amidst us, that is none other than Dr. Dilip Patil, Honorable Director, Department of Lifelong Learning and Extension, University of Mumbai. Dr. Patil has double graduation, LLB, MBA apart from his doctoral degrees. Sir has rich experience in teaching, research, administration. The last long 13 years, Sir is serving University of Mumbai as a director with the Department of Lifelong Learning and Extension. Sir works at various capacities like expert peer team member, NAC, and resource persons, and in various national and international bodies serve work in various capacities. Dr. Patil is the recipient of various awards, honors, ambassadorial fellowships, and the list is on with his conferences, publications, research projects, and so on. Sir is a very inspiring person, quite motivating and encouraging person, and a very nice human being. We are so fortunate to have you here today for this webinar, sir. Now, may I invite Dr. Dilip Patil. Fondly, we call it as Patil, sir, for the inaugural address. Over to you, Patil, sir.
Thank you, Mary, and thank you, Dr. Reni, Principal of Pillai College. I congratulate both of you with your colleagues in Pillai College, and out of we are having 314 college. This is the Pillai College organized this program online for the benefit of students, teachers, school teachers, and community people. And that's why I'm also one of the hosts with you to organize this program. And I congratulate to invite these eminent personalities, not only from India but from abroad also, like Advocate Nisha George. She's with us now from Norway, and Dr. Vivek Chincholkar. He is associate professor from Department of Psychiatric, Rajiv Gandhi College, Kalwa. So it is good that two people are with us, and they will contribute their knowledge with our community, our students, our teachers, and all of us. So I am also eager to listen them, and whatever their guidance, and we can follow in other colleges also. We can in future, like this program, we can invite this resource person for other colleges program. And as a today is a world population day, and under sustainable development goal number 11, that cities and communities, sustainable cities and communities. So it is very important topic. Out of our 6 projects, one project is population education, and continuous my teachers, colleague, and my students, volunteers, they are working community by implementing various programs under the population education club. So that is a continuous annual activity for last 14 years. We are with the community, with the population, and we are getting so many things from them. Not only we are giving them, but we enrich our knowledge from them. So once again, I will congratulate both of you, and thanks to my eminent personality, today's speaker from Norway and from Thane. So this is the from university. I wish all this thing, and thank you, Pillai College. Thanks.
Thank you, Patil sir, for your inspiring words. And it was truly an enlightening, really motivating to each one of us. Let us move on to our today's session. Today we have two eminent speakers, Dr. Vivek Chinjolkar and Advocate Ms. Anisha George, Fiscal Officer, Joint Warfare Center, Norway. Advocate Anisha started her career as a lawyer in Kerala, and from there she was fortunate to work on various organizations, including United Nations, at various capacities. And she is well known in her field of expertise. At present, she is working as a fiscal officer at JWC Community Support. We also have Dr. Vivek Chinjolkar, Associate Professor in the Department of Psychiatry, Kalwa Hospital. He is also a consultant psychiatrist with Jupiter Hospital, Thane. Dr. Vivek has a rich experience in the area of psychiatry and mental health. We welcome Dr. Vivek and Ms. Advocate Nisha for this webinar. Hi. Advocate, Ms. Nisha George, can you just elaborate your experience as a fiscal officer with JWC Stavanger?
Hello, hi. Let me thank you very much for having me in here. And I would like, because you know, the nature of the organization that I work for, it is not very appropriate for me to disclose what I'm doing. But being on the side, more on like I play with numbers, which is most like the taxation lawyer, what they do. So it's like, it's a bit more, the organization status is a bit more discreet, so I cannot disclose everything what I do. Pretty much everything which the taxation and I say it is like the game of numbers that I do at my present job.
We had discussed it before also. We understand the kind of work that you are doing and the kind of contributions that you are, as a law person, you are contributing to the development of our, not only to the nation, it's the international level. So, what are the challenges that do you see in this growing population and in this particular scenario? What are the major challenges that you would, look at it as an expert
I'm
law person?
sorry. I'm sorry, the voice is breaking in between. So I'm just going on from where I got it, right? So
Okay,
if
I
you are
was
asking me
asking
what are
about
the
the
challenges that
challenges.
I see
Chal-
as okay, I got it. Yeah. So what are the challenges? What not are the challenges that would be the easy thing that we can answer? So right now we are going through the COVID situation, right? If we look that
yes,
perspective in a closer view, right, the world was going into a very fast pace where we didn't bother about anything. We were doing whatever we wanted. But all of a sudden, when we claim that we are very advanced in healthcare, that is exactly where we hit down. And we know even in the developed countries, we are still facing the same challenges. So what are the challenges that we are facing?
I think we have some network issues at Ms. Anisha's end. Hope she will join. Yeah. Hi, Dr. Vivek. I think there is some technical delay from
Yes,
Nisha ma'am's end. So
yes.
can we, let us discuss you as the psychiatrist. What the kind of the challenges and experiences that you have?
Right. A very good evening, and let me thank the organizers for having me on this program today. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here to discuss on this topic with you. Uh, like you said, the challenges that we have as a psychiatrist related to population. Our population, our country's population is increasing by the day, and I'm sure that we are on our way to being the most populous country in the world soon. Now, this increasing population has both direct and indirect effects on both the physical and the mental health of individuals, a society, and us as a nation on the whole. Physical illnesses, if you see, the more the population, the more the kind of physical illnesses like transmissible diseases, like we're talking of a COVID situation here today, where one of the norms that's been said is to maintain social distancing. And if you look at a country like India, or more specifically, even if you look at a city like Bombay, Bombay is bursting at its seams. So, how do we maintain social distancing? You have places like Dharavi, which have such dense pockets of population that to maintain that social distancing is extremely difficult. So this is just one of the examples where just our sheer population, the number of people that are there with us, that is going to be a huge impediment and is a huge impediment for
Correct.
maintaining or controlling this COVID situation.
True. Very true,
Now,
Doctor.
associated with that, along with the physical disorders or the physical or the communicable diseases that spread because of increasing population, psychologically also this has an impact on the population.
Exactly,
Overall, if
Doctor.
you study people who are together in a small area, so which means that along with the increasing population, the density of the population is also more, then these
Sure.
individuals per se have higher rates of psychological distress, irritation, aggression,
Correct.
low frustration tolerance, lack of sleep, chances or
Right.
of developing either anxiety or depressive disorders, substance use. All these features, if you see, all these features come in because of the increasing population density.
True, true, true. So, doctor, I mean, if that means it affects the the personal space that, because of the growing population, the personal space that each one should be having, it's becoming it's a major impediment, it's a big challenge. So
Yes,
what are your views on it, doctor?
right.
the,
It's
the
it's
privacy
ironic.
and the personal space, pardon, doctor?
Yes, yeah. It's ironic that we as humans, we are social beings, so we do need
Correct.
connections. But
Correct.
unfortunately, the overcrowding, the overpopulation, and the population densities that I said, the discrepancy is that we have cities like major cities or urban centers where there are just too many people in a restricted area, as opposed to maybe the rural areas where the population density is not so high. So,
Sure.
especially in the cities that we see, this concept of personal space, though we said that we are social beings and we would like to connect with each other, each of us also needs a personal space. There is that
Sure.
boundary which is there. There is that certain space which is mine and mine alone, and nobody needs to be a part of that space. Unfortunately, the sheer volume of people that we have is making this very difficult. You just need to have a look at, say, the trains on Western or Central Railway at the peak hour, and you'll realize what we're talking about. Mumbai, if you see, like I have been born and brought up in Mumbai, so over the last few years, what we see is this: it's just more and more number of people getting added. So the kind of spaces that we had, just physical spaces, or even the concept of a personal space, that is no longer there. The other thing that I also feel which has happened is because of the technological advancement and social media being so much a part of our life, that has also prevented or that has also invaded our private space. Earlier, when we did not have social media, when we did not have mobiles or we did not have mails, we could, as students, come back from college, or if you were working, you could come back home from office and you could disconnect totally. You were not connected to the external world. Today, with social media entering our homes and even entering our bedrooms, that's become extremely difficult. So, yes, this concept of personal space is definitely getting affected because of the increasing population.
Yes, Doctor. I truly agree with the what you are saying. Hi, I think we have Nisha ma'am back here. Um, Hi, welcome back, ma'am. Yes. So, what are the challenges that as an
I'm sorry,
advocate?
I somehow got the connection.
Yeah, no, that's not an issue, ma'am. We understand. Sometimes the technology won't support us, or sometimes it gives us tough times. So, ma'am, as a law person, what are the challenges that you see it in growing in the population and in today's context?
Yeah, that is what I was listening. I couldn't listen the whole of what Dr. Vivek said, but I was listening to him because I had my education because I come from a village in Kerala where the population was very less, and from there I did my law degree in Mysore, where one evening, if I come out of the city, it's so crowded that you couldn't even move without touching one another.
Correct.
And in that situation, that was in 1993, 90, early 90s. And from there, I moved to different places because we were in Toronto. And in Toronto, what I noticed is the emergency. If you have a emergency medical situation, you go to emergency, you get medical attention, maybe like in 5 hours, 6 hours, depends on the crowd that is seated there. But from there, when we move to Norway, what I can see is you get the attention away. You step into the hospital and you are being taken care of. So in that way, I realize how the population can contribute not only the economic or to the environmental situation, as it also affects the healthcare. So the death rate, if you look at the budget, they will say nobody in this country died because of heart disease. heart attack or such situation, because we have air ambulance, we have all these facilities. The roads are open. There is no like rush hours. It's like rush minute. Maybe for 1 minute there is a rush due to slow it down, but that is what the situation is. So I have state. At the same time, the easy life of a very less populated situation we can enjoy, and the nature is so, you feel, when you feel the air that you breathe, you feel the difference.
Yes. Yes, yes, that's true, very true, Nisha ma'am. As Dr. Vivek rightly said, we all worried, in fact, about the COVID scenario, and especially in a city like Mumbai, because of the heavy population, the density of people that we are having. So, when the number of people are more, how it affects our healthcare system, and especially in a scenario like a pandemic, I mean the COVID-19, how it is affecting, that we can understand, ma'am. So, and we understand that when you are talking about the situation out there in Norway, which is not a heavily populated place at all, and the kind of environment, the quality of life that we can have. Yes, no, ma'am. So let me just ask Dr. Vivek again, as a psychiatrist, what is the reason, the increased irritability and aggression that has often seen the side effect of overcrowding?
Okay, so as ma'am discussed earlier, not only is the incidence of say physical and psychiatric disorders increasing, but our health infrastructure and our healthcare system is really getting under trouble. Meaning, even before the COVID pandemic, I don't think as a developing nation we had invested enough to cater to our regular needs of the population, both physical disorders and psychiatric illnesses. But now, with this pandemic being there, it's on the brink of collapse. And even where developed countries like Italy and other places have had so much problem, it's definitely very difficult for us overnight to suddenly raise infrastructure, to raise manpower to deal with such a huge problem. Coming to the question that you said, that why is this irritability or why is this aggression there? So because of the increasing population, people are facing a lot of stress, and more so in cities like Mumbai, where everybody is almost on the edge. These certain triggers may induce aggression or aggressive responses, like say for example invasion of private space, your personal space getting invaded. Loud noises. Loud noise is known to be a trigger where a person under stress can definitely decompensate. Now, if you see the decibel levels here, very, very high. Loud
True.
noise.
Yes.
Exposure to very bright lights. That's also something that can trigger episodes of aggression and violence.
Correct, doctor.
Lack of sleep, all these factors then come in together, and the person develops what is called as a very low frustration tolerance. So it's like the last straw that broke the camel's back. So in fact, if you see in the news, if you see in the media, the incidences of road rage, people
Yes.
just ready to fight with each other for absolutely no reason at all. Or if you see the fights that happen in crowded trains, anywhere where people are put under any kind
Correct.
of stress, it is possible that a person may get triggered, and it may elicit an aggressive or a violent response in a person who may not be otherwise aggressive or violent by nature.
Correct, correct. Yes, that's very true, doctor. Maybe sometimes you are upset, and then when you see again the lot of the noise around and people irritate. I mean, the people talking may not be directly to you. You just
Yes.
I mean just get I mean your anger and your irritation gets aggravated. So
True.
that's very true, doctor. That we can, a strong connection where when the number of people or overcrowding can affect the balance, or the way you think and react to certain the situations again. And again, doctor, what is your opinion on women rights and family planning and the awareness towards the family planning and the decision making?
Okay. Uh, if you need to talk of women's rights or rights to taking decisions, that I feel is still a very, very distant dream. The reality in India is that women as a gender have really not as much as much as a voice as they need to have.
Yes.
Now, taking or being part of these decisions like family planning, where both the husband and wife need to be ideally equally involved, is, like I said, an extremely distant dream, because at a general level may not necessarily apply everywhere, but generally, if you see females as a gender, they do not have that kind of leeway or that kind of a say in any decisions. Even
Correct.
today, if you see, female infanticide is still very high.
True.
If you go to the villages, many females will not get proper education because they are doing household work.
Yes.
Child marriages still there in India. Dowry
Correct. Very
system
true.
still exists in India.
Yes.
So with all these things, with our females in general not being empowered to be individual and to be educated, or to be in a position where they can take a stand, because unfortunately the upbringing, the attitude, the pressure from parents, the pressure from society makes it very difficult for them to have an individual stand. So then to expect them to have a stand as far as family planning practices are concerned is extremely difficult and far-fetched. Though yes, ideally one would like them to be equal partners. But as of now, currently, if you see, I don't see that happening at all. Though very gradually there has been a shift, more so if you see in the urban cities, where more and more females are getting educated, they are getting independent, they are financially independent, and they are taking care of themselves and taking care of their decisions by themselves. So, though it's a welcome move and it's happening, but still, for females as a gender to have an equal say, we still have a very, very long way to go.
Yes, doctor. So, I mean, that way, getting good education to the girls, or be it in family planning, women sometimes feel that they don't, their opinion is not considered or not needed. It, and I have come across with many females. I mean, ladies who are saying that we had initially we thought of having the three children, four children, and then later on my husband decided not to have. I mean, so I mean, many times I've asked, is it your husband's decision, or it was a joint decision? It is. So many times it would say that no, it's my husband. I wish I was ready for it. So be it in educated, I think the mindset of the people to some extent is also is a part to it. So what are your the views on it, doctor?
Right. Specifically talking of reproductive health, like we said, females don't have a say. Many a times, I work at Kalwa Hospital, and we cater to the lower socioeconomic strata. So even simple decisions like whether a pregnancy is to be continued, not to be continued, is something that a female can't decide on her own. It's generally the family and more so the husband who takes a stand, and the husband then puts forth his opinion. If you ask the female is likely to say that, I can't take a decision, you need to talk to my husband about it. Things like contraceptive practices, females don't have a choice. If they decide that, okay, I'm going to use this specific method of contraception, or if they want that the husband use a barrier method, the husbands don't cooperate. Even post delivery, the decision to have a contraceptive surgery, like having a tubal ligation, that's again something that females don't have the freedom or the leeway to decide. and it's the husband or the family members who come together and then say, though ideally it's the female's right. If a female does not want to or does not wish to continue her pregnancy or wants a particular method of contraception, it is her free will. But sadly, the truth is that she does not really have a say, and it's mostly the husband and the family members who take a decision for her.
Yes, very true, doctor. I think education is the only potential tool where we can educate our the girls, the younger generation, how they have to, what's their role, and how they have to come up, taking out their prejudices, taking out their that changing their mindset and things like that. Okay,
Right.
doctor, will come back to you in at a few minutes time. So, Miss Anisha, yeah, I think due to some technical issues, we won't be able to see her
Hello. Yes, I
video.
can hear.
Yes, okay. So, as a law person, do you think that the population divide affect human rights? How do you see it? The human rights and the growing population.
I think yes. I think yes. Yes, because the human rights, most like for the women as well as for the children, the growing up, how well the implementation of whatever is, like we are having so many projects and processes and all going on, like how far we are implementing all these. The study of the population growth and its consequences, we have been studying for a long time, but how far it is reflecting
True.
in the data. Is there any implementation? And if that implementation is not working out, are we finding an alternative solution for all these things? Right? The
Right.
human rights, what we can say, for me, I would say like the the primary need is the human rights. Like
Sure.
Dr. BK, I could listen very limited from him. What I could listen is yes, the family planning, the woman needs her voice, right? But in our culture, do we have a real voice in choosing our partner? No. So many of the rights are suppressed for a woman in our culture. Because what I see is when you come to the Western world, most of the killing is done by the father for choosing her partner. For the girls are brutally being abused at home. So human rights violation is there, and gender inequality is there. Everything is there, and the population is also like most of the cases we know how different it is when it comes to the fetal mortality as well.
Right.
So I am personally of my opinion, yes, there is a violation of human rights in
I think there is some network issue with Nisha again. Um, yeah. Doctor, as we were talking about the laws which is supporting the women sexuality or the population rights, what do you think that the women's role in family planning, which needs a lot of awareness, as a psychiatrist, what are the things that we can do it in order to create awareness or educating our both genders, because in a family planning, as you rightly said before, it's the equal rights. A joint decision should be happening it. So with respect to that, how we can empower our coming generation, our future generation on this.
Right. Personally, I feel that as far as family planning or uh, the decisions regarding children is to be taken, I personally believe that the female needs to have a greater say, because she bears the child, and it's a life changing event for the female, not so much for the male. Though of course it does affect the male as well, but between the two, I feel it's the female who needs to have a more say or a stronger say as to what her opinion should be. There are laws, there are human rights cells, there are everything which is there, but this is all on paper. Implementing that is going to be extremely difficult, and it's not something that's going to happen overnight. We need to, one, educate females so that they are literate, they are educated, they are financially independent, and they are capable of taking their own decisions. That's one. Secondly, like we are educating females, we also need to educate the male members of the society to accept females in these roles. Because many a times the problems are not only going to come from the males but also from the mother-in-laws. Many a times females come to us saying that the husband is supportive, but it's the mother-in-law or the father-in-law who sort of is the decision making person. So it's not something that will happen overnight, but yes, it needs to happen at an individual level where every female needs to be educated, empowered. It needs to be happening at a society level where the whole attitude of the society changes. There need to be legal implications as well. There need to be laws that protect females. And all of these things, when they come together, then we are likely to see some changes probably a few years down the line. Children, if you see, children are the best people who need to be targeted so that in their upbringing, if these morals, these values, these things are inculcated, then probably our generation next, which is coming up, will definitely be in a better space. Even now, like we said, we have all laws on paper, but are the laws implemented? Even if you see, if you
True.
have seen Amir Khan's program Satyamev Jayate, which was there, we still have in villages, we have khap panchayats, we have the law that does not exist there, honor killings still take on. So with this kind of ground reality, even though we have things on paper, for it to come into actual being is going to take a long time.
Yes, 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 doctor. Though we have laws, though everything it's on paper, we have. I mean, still, I'm sure many of us are not aware, and especially when it comes to this kind of, the decision making. It's still that awareness, the lack of awareness is still needed. It we need to work on it.
Right.
As an educationist point of yes, doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
In
wanted to
fact,
add something, doctor?
just a few months back, there was a movie called Thappad. I'm not sure whether you've seen it.
Yes.
So this movie
Yes,
is just based on the fact that there is an incident where a husband hits the wife. That's it, and how things derail after that. Now here, the female who is actually the victim is targeted even by her family members, saying that why are you making a fuss out of this? And this happens even in educated, literate families. So when you're going to the villages where people or females are illiterate, it's an extremely difficult situation.
Yes, very true.
true. Very true, doctor. Yes. Hi. We have. Hi, Doctor Rennie. See, as a teacher, educator, I would like to ask, we are dealing with the prospective teachers, and we know that they are going to shape the future generations in our classrooms. So, as an educationist, how would you look at these population issues, and especially the decision making process when it comes to the family planning? So, what are the possible things that we can do it as educationists in order to empower our younger generation?
Thank you, Dr. Mary, for the question. Um, I remember of one instance that when I was doing my B.Ed, we did have a paper called Population Studies. And we were told to talk about this aspect of population. some kind of a depiction that you have to do with on in a span of few seconds. I remember just one thing that I could do is I had a paper with me in my hand. I tore the paper and I held it in my hand. So I tore the entire paper into just four parts and I held it in my hand. And I said that, yes, I can hold it well. Then after a while, I tore those paper into more smaller pieces and then I held it in my hand. And I showed that, yes, now it cannot stay in my hand. It has just flown off. It has just gone off. So when we are talking about a situation like that, there are aspects that we need to consider, that how as a citizen, or as a a person who is responsible for his or her action, how this smallest aspect of population is to be looked into, the fact of what you can handle and what is something that just goes beyond measure to handle. So when we are speaking about sustainable cities and sustainable communities, how do we talk about sustainability? So sustainability will come out of the emergence of how we look into the aspect, breaking down into from the grassroots level to the top level. So when you're talking about from the grassroots level, we are talking about even from the people who are indoors, confined to the four walls. When we speak about population, let's talk about women who are not exposed to the society outside or not exposed to things outside. And to another contrasting effect is our women who are socially very active and who are aware of what is happening in the society. We have two diverse, we have two contrasting areas at a single point of time. And as educators, we have to reach to all of them, because
Correct.
we are today going to touch the students in the classrooms who are going to be a part of a society of from different economic strata, from different social background, from different kind of situation. And what the values that we imbibe in them is what they are going to carry forward. So when we are talking
Right.
about this aspect of overcrowding and the stress related to that, and we are talking about the stress and strain that we are feeling, it's more to do with how your mental peace or your inner peace can be sustained. And for this, the teacher takes a vital role in channelizing this thought into the minds of the children through understanding what is the aspect of having a population, a seamless, a very balanced set of population. But when I talk about this also, there is one aspect that I really want to focus is the newer generation feel having children are also not too good. They may also go to a point, no, we don't have want to have kids. We are not prepared. That's another aspect also that we have to look into, because we are a family, and the family builds a family. I mean, two people come together and they. So you have to understand this aspect and talk about these facts in a very simplified manner to the younger generation. And as students, we are talking about the depleting resources. So when we are going to talk about the depleting
Sure.
resources, we are trying to tell them, yes, today we have only this much and we need to go on. And if we need to
Correct.
go on, then how are we going to go on? So you need to use them little by little and take it for a longer period. Or if there are less people, then again you can take it for a longer period. So these are certain instances that if you can speak about to children in the class, they will be able to understand it better, because we are definitely, as Dr. Vivek said, we are definitely uh, moving ahead in a situation where we are going to be very soon a very highly populous country, and our population has always been a
Yes.
challenge in meeting the resources for our for our citizens. And today, if we are in that situation, and then we are trying to look up at it, but so our curriculum can also focus on that. Our curriculum can be ingrained in with these aspects wherein you speak about how the overcrowding or overpopulation or the population crisis can really have an impact in the different aspects of life. Like health is one aspect, economic is another aspect, social is another aspect, political is another aspect. Um, your physical is another aspect. Your emotional is another aspect. So when you're talking about all these aspects that a child is going, or a person or an adult is going to witness, then these things can be ingrained in our curriculum, which can be transacted at different levels at different times. And this can just build that the feeling of, the sensibility of, yes, you need to be more understanding and empathize with the kind of situation that we are talking about. So I feel as
Yes,
educators, we really take that, we really take that baton of educating our future generation, the current. Even today, our session is on that. We are taking a stand of
yes,
awareness. Is just awareness is not only for students, but even for us, for everybody. We are in a situation today where we are seeing a challenge, and this awareness is only to create that feeling of how we are going to see ourselves in few years' time, and that's probably is going to make a difference in, such events are really going to make a difference in our life ahead. Yes.
true. Yes, yeah. Thank you, Rennie. That was indeed, a very, uh, I mean, quite, quite understanding. As educationists, as educated, responsible citizens, what we should be doing it. Okay, and maybe I can ask, one more question to Nisha ma'am. As a law person, what is your views on women rights, on family planning that needs awareness? Nisha ma'am, I think there is some connectivity issues at her end again. Yes, Dr. Vivek, what do you think as educated and responsible citizens? What as professionals at your end as a psychiatrist and at our end as the Dr. Rini was talking from the perspective of a teacher, educator, or an educationist. What could be the possible programs or the channels that we can utilize just to create the awareness of our younger generation when it comes to the family planning?
Okay. Uh, I think the first thing that if you're targeting kids, then the younger you target them, the younger the age of the children, the more impressionable they are. So you need to catch them young, and their teachers would definitely play a major or a huge role. They say that one good teacher is worth 1,000 institutes. So getting teachers or getting these values, these life skills into their curriculum would be very, very effective. Secondly, they say that children at times may not listen to you, but they always imitate you. So as parents, as teachers, as professionals, we need to be good role models so that they have something or somebody to look up to, so that these values, these morals, these ethics, or these things can be included in their, or can be imbibed in their personality right from a very young age.
That's very true. In the meantime, I was just checking any, the live questions. So far, I don't think there are not many questions which our audience have, posted. I think we are good with our time, and let's, wind up for the today's session. And let me thank God Almighty for granting us this day and helping us to conduct this wonderful program so beautifully. So, at the outset, let me thank Dr. Dilip Patil, Honorable Director, Department of Lifelong Learning and Extension, University of Mumbai, for the wholehearted support all throughout the program. Sir has also extended all kinds of support for a couple of activities that we have planning to do it in collaboration with the university and PCR. We are truly grateful for your support and cooperation, sir. I know that we have not looked into the time, what time of the day or night when it comes to, communicate each and every details with sir. So he has never said no and very promptly sir has given extended his support for and all kinds of communication, and it was a very smooth journey so far we had. We are truly grateful to you, Patil sir, for the wholehearted support that you have extended. And a big thank you to the speakers for today, Advocate Nisha George and Dr. Vivek Chinchorkar. In spite of their busy schedule, I know the kind of work they are involved and the profile that they're having. So, in spite of all their busy schedule, they have set apart some time to share their expert views and experiences. Unfortunately, we couldn't hear Nisha ma'am due to the network issues. Nevertheless, we thank you, Nisha ma'am, for the views that you have shared, and we are so thankful to Dr. Vivek for spending his expert ideas and his precious time at this time of the COVID. I know that how Dr. Vivek is busy during these days. And I thank my principal, Dr. Remy Francis, has given a green signal to any ideas that we put forward. And she helped us in each and every minute things that we plan it. And the same with today's program for giving a proper shape and color to this program. I think I have received a wonderful support from Dr. Rennie Francis, our principal. Thank you, Rennie ma'am, for the wholehearted support that you have given.
Maybe if I,
Last but not the least, our wonderful audience.
maybe can we
You're
take up that
always
question?
your support.
Yeah, can we take up that
All,
question? Can Dr. Vivek here be on that question? There's a question here.
okay, okay, yes.
What about
That
demographic divide as far as India is concerned? I'm not sure that I really get the question. If you can just elaborate, I really did not understand what the question meant. Demographic divide.
so I, so
Dividend, dividend,
I
I
feel
think dividend.
dividend. But
Mm,
it looks like the kind of demographics that we have in our country. There is a huge divide that we are experiencing, and what it could mean with respect to the population aspect and that we are looking. We have a lot of divide with respect to the region, so many things. So that could be one of the aspects that we are looking
Um, yeah, that's true. India is a very huge country. We have a huge population and huge cultural differences. So, at no point of time is just one policy or one approach going to help all the people of India. So, these things, that the demographic variables, like you said, the culture, the region, the literacy levels, uh, all of these would definitely play a role in case of long-term strategy planning, if you're thinking in that sense. Yes.
I would just like to add to this also. So, when you are speaking about, we are also talking about the biggest population that we have is the youth population, which is really helping us to take our country to the next level. So, when you have in the pyramid, when you have the maximum number of population as a working population, and that's when the country really looks up and moves ahead in a more progressive manner and helps us to channelize our resources in the best possible way. Uh, Rather than so there was a time when we had a number of people above the age of 60, and then and if there are less number of children, there's less number of people below the age of the working population, then the dependency is high, and because when the dependency becomes high, the resources becomes very difficult to so that's one aspect that we can look into the focus on having a very productive population, good youthful population, which takes our country to the next level of being more developed and moving ahead in our and progressing.
Yes, adding to what Dr. Reni was saying, though we are a heavily populated the country, I feel we are proud of the diversity that we are having. So, be it the culture diversity or the kind of the festivities and the festivals that we have, or the geographical the and climatic conditions that we have, we're quite proud of the diversity that we have in our country. So thank you audience for this wonderful session, wonderful the questions, and you've always been a great support to PCR whenever we are having our live show. You're always having a wonderful audience. We have, it's a national webinar. We have people across the country, and we have few international viewers also. We are always happy to accommodate. PCR always come up with a wonderful theme for this webinar series. So thank you once again, and our lovely audience, our viewers, and all well-wishers of PCR Chembur. Thank you once again. Thank you all. Stay always tuned to PCR webinar. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.